We see dead people. Money! Academy Award takeaways. The Shrek-spurts are mad, and that is Shrekcellent. It is very Shreksy. Welcome back, Daredevil, DC's big plan. Good riddance, Kathleen, Severance Supreme, a movie draft update, and so much more. But first, news dump. Mac, Shane Gillis over on SNL. I don't know why you have it so high, but that's fine. The great Larry Bird jersey 33 is when we are recording. I had it more toward the bottom, but you want to talk about it right now. I will say very funny episode.
Just wanted to get it out of the way, happened recently. I feel like SNL is a good quick hitter. He is naturally funny because he's a large person. His mannerisms are pretty funny. He's a good combo of physical and actual writing. Some people just don't like him, and that's fine. I understand that too, but pretty good episode.
Yeah, I would say in general, every sketch had something that was at least a little bit funny.
Yeah, there you go.
Which that's really all you can ask for. Also, I feel like when he hosts more than other people, those sketches circulate the internet way more.
You could tell, especially this time, this being his second time hosting, he had much more influence in the writer's room.
A little more comfortable, too.
Yeah, for sure.
I would also say, and this goes for everybody, and I understand that when you have a stand-up there, you want them to do their stand-up at the beginning, but I really feel like we need to get those monologues to a tight 5.
Yeah, that seems fair.
I mean, he was around 8. It wasn't extreme. This isn't Dave Chappelle doing 20 minutes a month ago, but got to get a tight 5.
Yeah, that's true, but when Chappelle comes on, you can't tell him no, really, on anything, so it is what it is.
Yeah, but hear me out. If I want to see Chappelle do stand-up, I'll watch any of his 40 stand-up specials. If I want to see him do sketch comedy, I come to SNL.
Fair point.
News dump. Meta has confirmed that they have fixed the error that was flooding Instagram users with violent and sexual reels, saying we apologize for that mistake.
Apologizing for the only reason we're looking at these reels is for violence and sex. Don't change that. Go back.
I will say that at one point I was going through reels. I'm like, what did I look at that got me here? And apparently it was just a glitch.
I like violence. I like sexual stuff. I like soldiers coming home, and I like dog videos. Those are the four genres of videos I like in reels.
Luckily for you, they're listening right now. And as soon as we turn off this show, you're going to have a ton of them. News up. RIP to 2 acting legends. 4, actually, a Mount Rushmore of acting legends. Gene Hackman, Michelle Trachtenberg, Biff Whiff, and Charlie's mom from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, those latter 2 we forgot about.
Sorry to the party.
So
we're very, very sorry. Peace. Yes.
Gene Hackman on the short list of all-time great actors. If someone said he was their favorite actor of all time, I wouldn't argue with it. He's got a hell of a resume. Michelle Trachtenberg, very specific to our generation, was Buffy's younger sister. Euro Trip, which you were just pointing to behind there.
Yes.
She was also, what was that Nickelodeon movie?
Harriet the Spy. Orange VHS tape. That might have been,
there you go.
That's one of the first movies, live action movies that I saw in theaters, I want to say.
How about that? So, I think it sounded like she had a liver transplant a couple years ago, and it didn't quite take. I don't know. Maybe there was something. I don't want to accuse her of anything, but if you're having a liver transplant in your 30s, obviously something's gone awry. So, but horrible. I think she was 39.
She was 39.
Really young.
And of course, Gossip Girl. What a loss for Gossip Girl as well.
Gossip Girl.
I mean, breaking it to my Gossip Girl wife was very difficult over the phone.
How primary of a character was she in Gossip Girl?
She only popped up 3 or 4 times a year, but when she did, it was an event. Something big was happening. She was like a
tertiary character?
Yeah, but something big was always happening.
Ooh, saucy.
I know that it was tough for Davey, who has a Buffy wife.
Right. A bife.
Yes. And then, of course, Charlie Kelly's mother from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She was also on Pee-wee's Adventures. We didn't forget, but Biff Whiff also passed away. Very tough one, too. Of course, stormed onto the scene in recent years with I Think You Should Leave. He was on Dave. He popped up in Everything Everywhere All at Once. So
he really just seemed to be hitting his stride.
Yeah.
And this happens with actors. Sometimes it takes 10, 20, 30, 40 years to find your niche. He just found his in the last 5 years, and unfortunately it coincided with his demise. Hopefully his estate is making some money. Hopefully they didn't have to pay for anything really, but that's a tough one.
And then obviously beyond the acting accolades that goes into like the Gene Hackman stuff, I am very curious to what this mystery is.
Yeah, so we're still getting
Yeah.
pieces of truth and evidence now trickling out. So apparently, him and his wife were dead for like at least 10 days. He had some sort of heart monitor that last registered on February 17th.
Pacemaker.
Yeah, and they didn't find him until like 10 days after that. So there's something awry here. I mean, I suppose they're both old, right? Could be dual natural
Older.
causes.
So he was 95. She's like 64. So
Yeah,
she's
yeah, fair.
yeah.
And the dog was dead as well.
Yeah.
So some people were wondering maybe carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't know. It's tough to speculate, but obviously something bizarre happened.
We got a list of the top 10 highest paid actors of 2024. From 10 to 1, I'll start at the bottom. Will Smith, 26 million. Adam Sandler, 26 million. Nicole Kidman, 31 million. George Clooney, 31 million. Brad Pitt, 32 million. Hugh Jackman, 50 million. Jerry Seinfeld, 60 million. Kevin Hart, 81 million. Ryan Reynolds, 85 million. And at number 1, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at 88 million.
So a couple things here stand out to me.
Yes.
Is number one, only one female is kind of insane to me. Nicole Kidman at number 8, and she's been in a million things, so she's like in a million things just to get to number 8 on the list. Number 2, how did Will Smith make it? Is that just like, is he
So
getting?
I was gonna ask you because did Seinfeld make 60 million just from Unfrosted, or is that also Seinfeld money?
So I was wondering that. So is Will Smith making money from Fresh Prince?
I would assume so, because he's also the producer of the Fresh Prince, the serious one, but then he also, I would assume, has his claws in the other one there.
Yeah, so yeah, Will Smith and Seinfeld were the two I was really thrown off by. Even Clooney there is kind of crazy. Maybe he got
him and Pitt both got paid like 25 million for Wolves.
Okay, good enough.
Something
Reynolds at the top makes sense. I know Kevin Hart has his hand in a lot of producing stuff, so that kind of makes sense. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, 88 million. I know he gave us Moana and he had Red One. But what else did he have his hand in to get that much money? I mean, that is a lot of fucking money for a guy that we don't really care about anymore, you know?
No, and this also goes back to when you look at like the highest paid athletes still, and Michael Jordan's on there, and you see, oh, okay, all right, he shoes.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Maybe he had a big chunk of Moana too. Who knows?
News dump. All right, Mac, let's get to the big events. The Academy Awards, the 97th question mark?
Great question. I have no idea.
I'm going to say 97th, and I will say this. The ones from 2024, if we're timestamping, we're trying to timestamp here.
The 2025 Academy Awards for the 2024 movies.
Conan O'Brien rules. Conan O'Brien, just the ultimate, not only monologue, but his quick pop-ins were... And they were all on brand with Conan. I loved every second of him on stage.
Now listen, I love Conan, but you're like a Conan diehard.
Yes.
All the shit that Conan's gone through over the last 15 years. Do you feel like vindicated that he's like really getting his flowers these last couple of years and people are realizing like how good he has been and really are figuring out like, man, he really got fucked 15.
So I think that, and then I also question like anytime that I see that there's a news story or like a YouTube video of like how Conan got to here. And I'm like, he's been in the spotlight, like really well known since 1993, and he's also been a major writer on 2 of like the biggest comedy shows of all time prior to that.
Right. Yeah.
So yes,
vindicated.
Yeah. But I also think the most Conan bit of the night was him having the sandworm play the harp and play the piano. I'm like, that's peak late night with Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, you could tell that. I mean, like if you never watched Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and I'm sure there's a segment of our audience that didn't because he hasn't been on late night. He had his TNT stuff, but that ended what, 6 years ago, 8 years ago?
I think 3 or 4 years because he was still on during the pandemic. It was just like the weird tape stuff.
But no, he didn't have a huge audience once he moved to TNT. He was off NBC maybe a decade ago.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance a lot of people that are listening to us never really watched Conan, but we've talked about it extensively. Go back and watch some clips. he's great. Truly just a weird motherfucker, and it works so well.
Matt, can you tell the people at home what my sack dance was for freshman football when I tackled the blow-up quarterback?
Goose, sack, and/or touchdown dance, if you ever got the opportunity to do either. He would immediately get up and do the marionette thing that Conan would do
Conan
at the
O'Brien
beginning
string
of
dance
every
and then
episode.
cut it and let down. Didn't happen a lot. I barely got to that blow-up quarterback, but when I did, I let everyone see it. But he popped out of Demi Moore's back as the open. You had the John Lithgow bit of him doing the stare down instead of the Oscar music. Adam Sandler popped up wearing a hoodie, which I'm convinced that he did go outside and play basketball immediately after. He didn't stick around.
Chalamet.
A Chalamet. They had the Dune Worm. The Drake halftime joke was great. Like Drake just can't live his life anymore.
Just eating L's left and right. And I guess he was on he was at either SmackDown or Raw this past week too, and they didn't even put him up on the big screen at all.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then he brought out the Los Angeles firefighters to tell jokes that might have been a little too mean for him to say. And they made fun of Joker Fale Ado and Bob Dylan's singing voice.
Love that. Love that. Two things that are close to my heart. So
Three things.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, true.
You love fire.
Yeah, everyone knows that about me.
Yeah.
Goo. Some of the big winners on the evening, or really one big winner on the evening, was Sean Baker, who was the director of Anora that won Best Picture. And in doing so, that gave Sean Baker his 4th Oscar on the evening. He won for Best Editing, Best Original Screenplay, and also Best Director. Of course, Mikey Madison also wins Best Actress, giving Anora 5 wins on the evening. But, Goo, before you say
I have a cool question.
Sean Baker becomes only the second person ever to win all 4 of those awards in one night, and the first to win all 4 for one movie. Apparently, Walt Disney did it a million years ago, so that's pretty fucking cool.
So is that the Mount Rushmore of awards, you think?
Well, no. Editing, you got to knock off there.
Okay, so Triple Crown.
Editing for
Triple
actor,
Crown? How about Triple Crown?
Original screenplay, director, and picture is pretty much
Triple
as good
Crown.
as it gets right there.
There we go. Boom.
And of course, he couldn't win an actor, but I was talking for Anora in general there. But he won the Triple Crown. He tossed editing in there as well, so huge win for him. Probably, maybe not the biggest upset of the night odds-wise, but for you and I, who wanted or rooting for Mikey Madison to win Best Actress, she defeats Demi Moore, and what we thought Demi was going to get sort of the career award on top. Don't get me wrong, she's phenomenal in the substance.
Yes.
A bit overblown, but we thought for sure she's going to win because of the career, and Mikey Madison takes it home.
Imagine if we had just bet with our hearts as opposed to our stupid logic.
No, I bet I had Madison. I made some money on that.
Okay, so you had Madison, but imagine if we just bet on all of those, all of those awards with our heart instead. Because I think even Best Director, he was at like plus 600.
Was he that? Wow. Yeah.
I think so.
Wow. Damn. I think it was minus 200 for screenplay no, that was Best Picture actually. I don't know. Yeah, we should have just doubled down on our feelings there. Goo, another note for Anora here. It becomes only the second movie ever to win both the Palme d'Or, which is the main award at Cannes, and also Best Picture. Parasite was the other one to do that. Both those movies distributed by Neon, so massive win for Neon there. A couple other notes here. Adrian Brody beats Timothée Chalamet for Best Actor, and not disappointed in
not an upset either.
But yeah, it wasn't an upset. I didn't feel too strongly when it came to Best Actor, so I guess I'm okay with it. The more notable thing here is apparently he talked forever. I missed this live. 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
They started playing him off, and he's like, "Cut it."
He set a record, Goo. Longest acceptance speech ever, breaking Greer Garson's record. I don't know who that is. Maybe you do. You're a real art school fella. Greer Garson.
My art school does not exist.
No longer the leader for longest acceptance speech. That became one of the Brutalist 3 awards, which was second to Anora. Wicked, Dune 2, and Amelia Perez take home 2 awards. Real bizarre situation here where in 2022, Dune won 6 Academy Awards. Dune 2, I think a superior movie in each and every way, only wins 2. And
if it just came out 3 months later, it probably would have won Best Picture.
It's so bothersome to me that's what happened. But I'm stoked for Anora. I do think Anora.
No, it's great, but like Dune 2 came out before last year's Academy Awards.
Did it really?
Yes. It came out in February.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And Goo, to that point, you had 4 anonymous Oscar voters that came out and said they didn't watch Dune Part 2 and abstained from ranking it altogether on their Best Picture ballot because they couldn't get through the first Dune.
Yeah.
And I listen,
take those away.
Yeah,
take
you
those
shouldn't
away.
be allowed to vote.
If you can't watch, like, the bare minimum,
you only had to watch 10 movies.
Should be watch those 10 movies, which first off, it should just be 5. 10 is way too many.
Fair
but it should be like, I don't even care about any, just watch those movies.
I don't understand how that's.
I also saw that 2 people did not vote for Ralph Fiennes because they thought that he had already won an award and they wanted to award Adrian Brody and so he could win it for the first time when Ralph Fiennes had never won one and Brody has won one.
They both thought he won for Schindler's List 30 years ago.
Yeah.
He didn't. Adrian Brody did win 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Just
also,
a lot of dummies out there.
An amazing Conan joke of if Ralph Fiennes lose tonight, we get to call him Ralph.
We really should be calling him Ralph. I really don't care for that. Or just change the spelling of your goddamn name.
Agreed.
To that Dune criticism, I get it. I don't love the first Dune, but the whole thing was you had to buy into it so that the second one could be so good. So that's so stupid. They did this really bizarre James Bond tribute that was introed by Margaret Qualley, which I liked her little sauciness there. What's going on with this? Well, I don't understand this.
Because my wife also asked me why, and just my assumption is that because Amazon just bought it, they're like, let's put it back at the top of people's minds. Maybe.
So if you're going to do that, you should announce a new Bond, not just do a montage.
No, just do some sweet dancing and singing. And they also did not have the musical performers perform the songs this year, so they filled in a little bit with that, and like Ariana Grande sang at the beginning.
Yeah, Grande and Arrivo did Flying Gravity, which was awesome, and then she also did
Over the Rainbow
a little bit later.
It's an original.
They sound so good live. It's
they're great.
They're just so fucking talented.
My biggest complaint on the night is they were going between categories, and they started playing the Austin Powers theme song, and I'm like, hey, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, hey, are you ready for this? I'm sitting back. Then it cuts to commercial. If you start playing the Austin Powers theme song, Austin Powers better fucking pop out.
He should have came out and presented an award.
He should have came out and presented the James Bond crap.
That actually would have worked, actually. Yeah, strong point. Very strong point.
Oh, behave. Do I make you Randy?
And maybe Margaret Qualley dresses a fembot, too. Huh? Now we're talking.
Macden has everyone stand up, and they're all fembots. Any other thoughts from the night?
No. I'm stoked for Anora. It seemed like 3-4 months ago it was an underdog, and then it ended up being a gigantic
overdog.
So yeah, definitely got over. So
news dump. Huge news. Middle of last week, we got our first teaser for Shrek 5, the fairest of them all, poking fun at those who make their Shrek memes and Shrek gifs. And we got our first look at Zendaya as Shrek's 14-year-old daughter, which does tell us, I believe 14, roughly 14, which does tell us that this is about 14 years since the last time that we saw Shrek. And what a lot of people are saying is they hate the look of Shrek. Guys, if you want to look at me even 5 years ago, right now, I look like a fucking old catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
People age.
2 things here.
Look at us.
Number 1, people age. Look at us.
Look at us.
Number 2, I didn't even notice anything. Looked like fucking Shrek to me. I don't know what the fuck.
Everyone's like, oh, Shrek sucks. Like, first off, yeah, Donkey looks a little different, but Donkey's also getting old.
Yeah.
I don't know how donkeys age.
I don't know.
Oh, we know this. The fucking donkey just died. The original donkey just died. He was, what, 30? 40?
Sure. There you go.
Donkeys age and quickly.
People should just be happy they're getting a Shrek 5.
No, shut up. We're lucky that Donkey's alive in this series still, if anything.
You think they kill off Donkey in Shrek 5?
What if they kill them off between movies?
What could Shrek 5 possibly be about? I never saw Shrek 4.
Shrek 4 has sexy John Hamm. He's also an ogre.
Maybe I saw Shrek 4.
Shrek 4 is a good one. Shrek 3 is a bad one.
2,
And
hot
Shrek
take.
4,
Maybe not hot take. We may have talked about this before. Shrek 2,
better than 1.
Greater
What?
than Shrek.
Shrek 2 is for the everyman. Shrek 2, it's you're meeting your in-laws for the first time. You're trying to gain acceptance with your in-laws. They're very difficult, but then you find common ground. It's for
Shrek
everybody.
2. I had Shrek 2 for the Game Boy Advance SP, not the game.
Yeah.
You could watch the movie on your Game Boy Advance.
I had the DVD, which was so interactive. There were so many choices on there. You had Happily Ever Idol on there, where you could see all the characters doing American Idol, but it wasn't called American Idol. But I think Simon Cowell was there.
I don't know.
And then I want to say that I fell asleep to that movie so much because I remember that disc screen so vividly.
Yeah, The current generation is going to be robbed from those DVD menus. They're never going to have those.
Oh, the worst television series to fall asleep to? Modern Family.
DVD wise is tough because it was more I was watching on Netflix, but I still am like scarred from the Office theme song being so much louder than the actual show.
I'm sorry. So say if you fall asleep to an episode of Modern Family and then out of nowhere, dun 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 on a loop over and over again.
Somehow you made that Pee Wee Herman.
R.I.P. Charlie's mom. She was on Pee Wee Herman.
There you go. Tied it all in.
So just leave Shrek alone.
Shrek alone.
Leave Shrek. That was my first thought when I'm like, I might become the fucking Britney person with Shrek and just go under a blanket and just tell everyone to leave Shrek alone.
You should recreate that.
I should recreate that. Newsed up. Daredevil Born Again starts this week.
How erect are you?
I am so excited. What a week we are in. Daredevil Born Again and Mickey 17, the two most anticipated things in the world for us.
It's been 7 years since we got a season of Daredevil.
And you don't even like Daredevil season 3.
Don't at all, actually. I
loved it.
But I'm looking forward to this because it seems like they're going to be cutting out a lot of the bullshit. We're getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
People are going to have their powers and uniforms.
And eat it too.
We're going to be able to. I am wondering, and this was a good point brought up by the internet because, we are dealing with like Elseworld shit now. Is this the Daredevil we saw in She-Hulk the same Daredevil that we're getting in this series?
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
I know Tatiana Maslany said that she would love to pop up in a Daredevil anything. And she's like, I'm a serious actress. I can do that.
I think there's like 180% chance that Foggy dies during this season, right?
Yeah, well, they also set up, they've been talking about it, Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, how there's a scene in this that really, really got to them and is also really going to get to the audience. So you're like, okay, so either Foggy and/or Karen is going to die.
I think Karen's been confirmed for season 2 already.
Flashbacks?
So, but it could be flashback or ghost Karen. But I don't think Foggy has. So
we haven't seen sexy ghost action in a while.
Great point.
No one's banged a ghost in a while.
It's really strong. Actually, it just happened.
MacGruber. I know MacGruber. Oh, she banged a ghost in Nosferatu?
Yeah, kind of like a spirit.
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
Unless it was a dream. It was kind of a dream, but I felt like it was real. That movie stunk.
I mean, because, think back. Ghostbusters, Dan Aykroyd. You had Scary Movie 2. You get that scene. Remember that scene?
I sure do.
Yeah. So, news dump. Let's see here. The Punisher special. Punisher special is in the works at Marvel Studios. This will be like a Werewolf at Night. John Barenthal is returning, and I believe he's also co-writing it.
It's John Bernthal and it's Werewolf by Night.
What did I say? What did I say for both of those?
Bernstein Bears and
Bernstein Barenthal.
This is awesome. If it's just like an hour of him fucking things up, that'll be great. It'll be exact. Instead of giving us like a shitty 13 episode Punisher season, which Punisher season 2 was, just give us an hour of straight awesomeness.
You know what? That is something that they should really look into. Of they want to reintroduce a character to then give him a team up. Give them an hour. Give them an hour 20. Don't give them a 5-episode thing. Don't give them a full movie. If you gave us, and I'm not even saying that this would have been good. If you gave us 80 minutes of Echo, you might have figured something out.
Give us your best 60 to 90. Get in, get out.
Get in and get out. Get on with it. News dump. James Gunn shuts down the rumors that Daniel Radcliffe will be playing Clayface on that television show that they are working on. He said Daniel is a great actor, but we certainly haven't talked or even considered him. So this is 100% false.
I want like an older Clayface. I want a guy that's like down and out.
I don't know. He would have. So I do want an older one because you need to, because I believe they are going to go with the actor angle of it, where he's, he's not getting his roles anymore. So he turns to this substance, if you will.
Like a late 30s, early 40s? Or you talking
even just
like
40s or 50s? And, now he starts to take this to make him look younger and get roles. And then he needs to take more and more to do it. And then he's out of control.
Yeah, maybe Radcliffe would work. I don't really care who they cast for Clayface, to be honest with you.
Let's see here. DC has set a goal to release 7 projects a year. That's pretty good. That's a lot.
It's
2
ambitious.
live-action films, 1 animated film, 2 live-action shows, 2 animated series, and there are plans set for the next 6 years. I think they've also been talking to a lot more of the video game developers too. Haven't they started talking with Rockstar again or Rocksteady again?
I'm not sure. I don't know about that.
Oh, James Gunn also congratulated Zoe Saldana for her award.
You got it right. Love that.
I learned from that episode.
I still think, and I didn't want the shit to harm Zoe Saldana, the shit about Amelia Perez. But dude, Ariana Grande deserved that award, easily.
That was a great Conan joke too, of her publicist.
Oh, Carla Sofia Garcon. Yeah.
Publicist dropping more F-bombs.
It's like 467 F-bombs in Anora, 3 more than.
And if you're wondering, my name is Jimmy Kimmel. It's a good joke.
She took it on the chin too. That was good.
This is also 2 straight years now that a Marvel mainstay has jumped out of that universe and won an Academy Award.
Love that. That's a good point.
The last one is already back in Marvel. But we'll see what happens with Saldana, who's already said, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
That makes sense.
She doesn't want to do franchises anymore.
Yeah, she's already committed to 35 more Avatar movies. She doesn't need to be in more makeup in Marvel movies.
She's like, I don't want to be in the Pirates anymore. I don't want to be in the Marvels anymore. I'm a really good actress. She's a very good actress.
She is.
News dump. All right, we got our first look at Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler in Lanterns.
Yeah, this is I'm really looking forward to this series. It's going to be an HBO series coming out next year, and I think they're going to, because Green Lantern is obviously a pretty notable character. I think they're going to really want to explain Jon Stewart and what's his name? Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan.
I was going to say Hal Sparks, the stand-up comedian,
and how they came to be. So I think a series works well for this characters. So I'm really looking forward to it.
News dump. We got details on Shawn Levy's Star Wars film. Of course, if this even comes out, we've already heard of so many directors, writers, everyone else working on Star Wars projects, and nothing ever happens for any of them. But his would be starring Ryan Gosling. It's a standalone film set around 5 to 6 years after Episode 9, may bring back sequel trilogy characters, and will be the Star Wars film that will start production next. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. You pieced it together. Shawn Levy is a solid director.
Daredevil and Wolverine, by the way.
I don't know if I want him. I don't know if I want like the next Star Wars movie leaning on him. I love Goss.
I'll say Silly Goss. Silly Goss.
I don't know.
Silly Goss. Give me Silly Goss.
Because we're at an impasse of sorts here with Star Wars. They've had 2 or 3 pretty successful live action shows. But the movies have really been lacking. So I don't know. Because inevitably what's going to happen, Goo, is it's going to be a standalone, right? But then if it does remotely well, they're going to want a trilogy. And so do you want Shawn Levy's Star Wars trilogy? I think the answer is no.
What if it's Ryan Gosling's Star Wars trilogy?
I'm in on that, and he's incredible in another sci-fi movie, Blade Runner 2049. I don't know. I'm having a hard time buying into this one.
News down. Speaking of Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy is looking for her successor. She plans to retire at the end of 2025. Is this true, by the way? Because I thought I saw that she doesn't want to leave.
Yep, she reportedly wants to leave by the end of the year, and a lot of
Okay.
insiders are pointing to Feige as her successor. Some are saying Filoni. You know my stance on Filoni, and it is tied to
He's full
Kennedy.
of baloney, as you always say.
I don't think he can have full control. He needs to be the vice president. He needs to be the person you fall back to when you're looking to fill gaps. But if he's fully in charge, we're going to get a lot of droid centric.
I'm telling you I'm calling it right now. I'm calling my shot. You know who's going to be put in charge?
Who?
George Lucas.
Oh, joy. Lucas and Filoni. So we're going to get the prequels.
No. But it's not going to be George Lucas owns this. It's going to be George Lucas works for other people and needs to pass things like through a chain. So he can't just.
That's not going to happen.
He does not have carte blanche. But they will give him another couple $1 billion to come back and make Star Wars.
No, I don't think that's.
I'm calling it
at all.
I'm calling it right now.
I guess you're shooting your shot there.
I'm shooting my shot. Also, I'm going to call this right now. I know that Lorne Michaels, we spoke about SNL at the top of the episode, but he's already said he doesn't have any plans of leaving anytime soon. I feel like he's going to leave within the next 4 years, whenever his 50th season is, because he left for 4 to 5 years. And I'm going to call right now who's going to take over SNL.
Keenan.
Colin Jost.
It's not bad. That's not bad. It seems obvious that it would be Tina Fey, though, right?
No, Colin Jost has been a writer on the show since 2004. So he's been around for a really long time. He's been the head writer for roughly a decade now. He wrote most of the 50th anniversary special. I think that he's the next guy.
All that said, it seems like it's probably going to be Tina Fey, right?
You can call Tina Fey. I'm telling you, Colin Jost.
If we get betting odds here, I'd say Fey would probably be the favorite. Because she doesn't really do anything outside of SNL.
Neither does Jost.
Her television show was SNL oriented, so
it was about SNL.
Yeah, so it's she is SNL, and there's just nothing against Jost, but Faye's 20 years older, so hand it to Faye, and then Jost is the one after Faye.
Well, I'm sure that if it was up in the air, and you're looking at people that were associated with SNL, it would be Faye, Seth Meyers, and Jost fighting for it.
Yeah, I think Myers is content in his late night.
I know. Myers is obsessed with SNL.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. But Jost is a better version of Myers.
I agree.
Okay. All right.
But maybe he doesn't want the job, whereas Seth Meyers really, really wants that job.
Maybe Seth Meyers comes in, Jost takes over Seth Meyers' show.
Maybe Seth Meyers hides in a closet and spies on people and then finds a way to wiggle his way in there to steal the show from someone else.
You know what? I'm talking myself into a Colin Jost late night show. I'm in on that.
Colin Jost is great.
Yeah, agreed.
News dump. John Lithgow has confirmed that he'll be playing Dumbledore in the Harry Potter TV series on Max, saying, "It's going to define me for the last chapter of my life. I'll be about 87 years old at the wrap party, but I've said yes." Telling Screen Rant.
Listen, I hope they don't go for 2 with Dumbledores. Or I guess 1 for 3 if he perishes in the midst of this whole thing, just like their first Dumbledore, Richard Harris, did. That's the risk you run when you're planning a 10-year shoot and you cast an old person. So I still don't. This is a really weird casting to me, Goo. I know you're not a big pothead.
But we already talked about it.
Bizarre to me.
We've already talked about this, though. Is that you want complete unknowns for the kids, and you want stable, reputable actors playing the adults.
I get it. I just of all the roles we've seen Lithgow play, this is just weird for me. It's weird for my brain.
I know that you want John Solomon. You want Third Rock from the Sun again.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Because he's one of the greatest dramatic actors of all time, that he spent roughly 10 years on a sitcom.
I mean, his work as the Trinity Killer in Dexter is some of the best of all time. He's fucking absolutely terrifying and menacing in that. And then you throw in his goofy stuff in between all through the years. And he obviously can pull it off. I'm just having a hard time picturing it at the moment.
By the way, when he went off and did Third Rock from the Sun, he won 4 Emmys.
That makes sense.
It was him and Kelsey Grammer every year.
Yeah.
News dump. Severance Rules. Severance is the best.
So we just got season 2, episode 7 this past week, and we finally get some backstory to Mark and Gemma. And Goo, I am not a history of television or a student of television history, but I have a hard time remembering an episode of television that was as well shot and edited as this
It
fucking
was
episode was.
unbelievable. And
It
I've
was so good.
also seen there was no AI used.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable. And
Wait, was it
like,
AI? AI is the hot word. I feel like it might have been no CGI used. Sorry about that.
no, they said AI. They said no AI,
said
used,
AI.
used in
Okay.
the editing and whatever. Or they might have said CGI. I don't fucking
They might
know.
have said
Either way,
CGI. I'm gonna go with CGI.
really impressive episode of television. Finally got that background of Gemma. You have more questions. Like this is what Severance does so well, is when it answers a question, it generates 3 more, and you're even more intrigued in what's going to happen next. And we're all wondering what Cold Harbor is. We get a background to 6 or 7 of the other things. Gemma is getting absolutely tortured right now. I'm trying to be as spoiler free as possible, but I am so invested in this show, and I really hope they don't fuck me.
Also, our buddy Billy, who is a special guest on the Dork podcast for their Severance episode / hopefully he'll come back on for our Severance episode. He did our season 1 Severance episode. He's a busy boy now. He's a busy Billy. He's spiraling right now. He is. He's watching which way every elevator is going. He's watching everyone's eyes at all points.
I must admit, as much as I love this show, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on. I don't have a clue, and I'm not even bothering looking into it. So what my routine has been for the last 3 or 4 episodes, I'll watch it and purposely wait a day before I watch it so that I can go immediately onto YouTube and watch the new Rockstars breakdown or heavy spoilers so they can explain some stuff to me. And then even then, I still don't know.
Oh, can you give me your best in the elevator when you become severed? Can you give me your best face for that? Oh man, that's bad. Wow.
I'm trying to copy the practical effect they do there, which is always great.
Yeah.
And what was cool is, I guess I didn't really think about it to this degree, but clearly it is a thing, and they went outside into that reserve or whatever. But the fact that you could just jump into a door and be a different severed person than the door across the hall, I didn't really consider that thing, and that's a whole new thing.
Want to see my face?
Sure.
No one's used their tongue yet.
It's true.
I don't know why. Something like that.
I think would be cool. You take a sip of water right before you become severed, and then the other one's drowning.
Say if you're eating chicken wings, the next person just chokes on them. News dump. Oscar is back. Oscar Nunez will return as Oscar Martinez in the new Office series. This is the one that's set in Australia, correct?
Oh, no. I thought it was, it's set in the Midwest.
I'm gonna tell you right now. When I read this, I said to myself, I don't care.
I care a little.
I do not care.
This series follows the Dunder Mifflin documentary crew, so the same crew, more or less, as they focus on a dying.
Oh, you mean the worst part of the show when they brought in the documentary crew?
Dying historic Midwestern newspaper and its volunteer reporters.
That's right. You're right. Yeah.
So I think there could be some good hijinks if it's volunteer reporters and people trying to make it as a newspaper writer in today's world. But you knew there was going to be some carryover. Oscar, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan pops back up.
No, Ryan's not going to pop back up.
Come on.
Unless they have either him or Mindy Kaling writing or doing something.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure BJ Novak's going to be involved, at least producing, you would guess, but maybe not.
Because then I always think of whenever there's either a Comic-Con or a Fan Expo, they're always like, the cast of The Office is here, and then ... but not Michael, Jim, Pam, Dwight.
Yeah. But that's one of the few shows, a la Parks and Rec, where you can miss the top 2 or 3 and still have a good cast of characters.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Come on with it.
News
you don't want Phyllis's picture?
Not really. Creed is the only background guy that I'd want. News dump.
Kevin.
You. Let's hear it. What's up?
I got a movie draft update for you and everyone at home. We've hit March.
Oh my God.
February is over. First month of the movie draft is over. And starting in the rear, Keith is in last place with no points. He has not had a movie come out. He's got Black Bag coming out this month, so he'll get started there. Goo, you're in third place with 30 points. You've had 2 movies come out. One got you a fat 0, though, so that hurt you a little bit. You only have Novocaine this month, so maybe that'll boost you a little bit. That
What got me 30 points? Bridget Jones?
Bridget Jones got you 30
That's not
points.
bad. That's good ROI. Wow.
It is good ROI. Yep,
Bad ROI on the other one.
It makes up for Love Hurts for getting you 0.
Yeah.
I have 40 points from Paddington in Peru, which I was expecting. I was hoping for 60-ish.
I'm
so
surprised. Not a lot, but it had that weird release, though, where it was released overseas first.
Yeah.
Didn't have the same pub as the first two either.
No, it hasn't. The scores have been good, mostly good.
Yeah.
It's only made like 30 million so far, so maybe that might only get me another 10 points. This month I've got 3 coming out on becoming a guinea fowl, Death of a Unicorn, that's the Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd one, and the Ballad of Wallace Island, which we just got the trailer for the other day, starring Carey Mulligan. That looks pretty good too. And in first place with 80 points from 2 movies, but primarily one, Captain America: Brave New World, is Davey. He's got Mickey 17 this week as well, Goo, and 4 other movies this month, so he could be out to a massive lead by the time we get to April. He's got The Day the Earth Blew Up. That's the next Looney Tunes movie. Electric State, which is the Russo brothers Netflix
Looks
release.
like trash.
Opus actually isn't doing very well. And then he also has Snow White. So he could have a decent lead once we get to March, but that's what we got so far. Davey 80, Mac 40, Goo 30, Keith Zilch.
2 things here. Number 1, we are going to put up a poll for the best movie of February. I know that we'll have Captain America on there, maybe Hard Eyes, Monkey, and figure that out from there. Paddington, maybe. Second thing is, I know that Friendship is coming out in, is it May or April?
May, I believe.
Are you considering trading it?
I am not going to. I would need so many prospects back.
You could get the world for that. You
and
always
I
put
have
a dog on it.
It's if that movie crushes, it's going to give me a pretty good chance. I'll say that. Because I felt like even if it doesn't crush, like that should have gone amongst our group. That should have gone for 8 to 10.
But we also forgot to put it in our most anticipated movies of the year.
We did, which is why I was banking on the 3 of you for getting for it in the movie draft. So,
yeah, but how much money could it possibly make, though?
I think it could make 50 or 60 million. So in that respect,
no, that's a lot.
It is. It is. I think it could make that. So that's only 20 points there. But knowing how much people love Paul Rudd and how well Tim Robinson things have done, that could be a gigantic one for the audience and critic scores.